Hello everyone, I am Lord Welshie and I am your host for a very special occasion. What is that occasion? Is it something you've forgotten? A public holiday? No, it's the inaugural episode of the MiniBox. What is the MiniBox, you might ask? Well, it's a series where I open mini-boxes. And we've got two great models to start you off with for this first episode. We are going with the Pathfinder Battles Deep Cuts range. The first model is the Direwolf, and the second one is the Silver Dragon. Let's take a look. So first up from the Pathfinder Deep Cut series we have the Direwolf. So it comes inside this blister pack. It's, as you can see, it's primed, paint ready, out of the box. So it's kind of primed with this kind of a light grey colour, so you can just paint it immediately. And on the back there's an example of some of the colouring that you can do on it. So we'll just open this one up. So peel the back off. Try and get in. There we go, we're peeling it off properly now. So we do have this kind of thin black circular base which can be stuck onto later, so we'll put that to one side. And it just pops out quite nicely, put that aside. And there's the Direwolf, free of his box. So just that initial first glance, that's a very nice looking model. You can see the face is a suitably aggressive kind of expression for a Direwolf. There is a decent level of detailing, quite deep cuts for the fur. I imagine that's why it's called the Deep Cuts range. Certainly looks like it would be quite easy to pick out highlights in the fur and maybe get a bit of shading into the deeper recesses there. Quite nice detailing on the face. The fangs look suitably sharp. You can see the ears poking out quite nicely from the fur as well. Quite a dynamic pose as well. It does look like it's kind of stalking forwards, which I quite like on this, looks like a muddy kind of terrain base here. Again, that's got a little bit of detail to it, so you'll be able to paint kind of the difference between almost looks like dried mud at the front and kind of damper, soggy earth or marshy terrain towards the back, like it's stepping out of like a dried lake bed, something like that. Kind of nice, quite cool. In terms of imperfections or any flash left on it, there's a little bit, see if it comes up on the camera, just on some of the spines here, might need a little bit of tidying up. But on the whole, this one's looking pretty good. There is a little bit of a split kind of down the centre of the head, quite difficult to see on the camera. But overall, yeah, that is actually really, really nice. I'm quite pleased with the level of detail on that. That's a fine looking mini. So that is a quick look at the Direwolf. Next up, we have got the Silver Dragon. So this is the Deep Cuts Silver Dragon. Now the box is a little bit larger than the one that we had for the Direwolf because this is a larger model. It sticks out a bit further on the side here. It does stick out on the shelf a bit when I was grabbing it as well. Very similar on the back. There is an example of how it can be coloured. Now it is called the Silver Dragon, so they've obviously used a silver colouring for this example, but I imagine if you wanted to make it a black or a green dragon, you could probably paint it whichever colour you really wanted to. Now this one's a little bit different. We're going to open this up. So peel the back off again. There we go. And just pull this out of the blister pack here. And again, we've got a large circular black base that this can be glued onto afterwards. And you can see this one actually comes in multiple pieces. Now, this is the only one that I saw when I picked this up in the shop that came multi-part like this. All of the others were kind of pre-built, ready to paint straight away. This one is also pre-primed as the Direwolf was. I think all of the ones in the Deep Cuts range are pre-primed, ready to paint straight away. But this one does require a little bit of construction. Now, this is the main body of the dragon itself. And I have to say that's very nice. Maybe a little bit small if you wanted to use it as an ancient dragon or a large dragon, but could certainly work really nicely as a young dragon. I do really like the pose this is in, kind of this very serpentine look to its neck. It's leaning down, mouth open as if it's about to fire off a nice breath weapon. The fact that it's standing on this chunk of rock here as well, it's nice to have that kind of scenery detail to add to the miniature. There is a little bit of mold lines that may need cleaning up, especially around some of the joints and on some of the legs here. And with it being pre-primed, I don't know how easy that's going to be because you're going to lose some of that paint maybe that's already on here. But again, on the whole, the level of detail, especially on the scales, those are rather well defined. Those look very good. Again, a little bit of flashing that needs taking off some of the spines on the tail. But on the whole, again, I really like this one. It just looks really dynamic. It's kind of a little bit of an aggressive pose. It's stalking forwards. It's looking at whatever heroes have encroached onto its domain, and it's probably not happy. We'll attach the wings in a moment, but we'll take a look at them individually first. Now, again, the level of details on these, you've got this lovely kind of leathery kind of folds and wrinkles to the wings. That'll allow for a bit of shading, highlighting, getting a little bit of colour in there. You do lose it a little bit from the compared from the inside to the outside of the wing. It's not quite as well defined, but there's still enough there, I think, that you could get a good wash and some dry brushing highlights in there, or even edge highlights if you wanted to. Now, on the edge of the wing here, you've got kind of the arm structure or bones structure with the scaling here, and the same on the underside. Again, another nice bit of detailing. Colour going off camera there, so sorry about that. Little bit of flashing needs cleaning off on the ends. A couple of mould lines just across the top here. See if we can get that into the camera a little bit. I don't know how well that's going to show up. Yeah, there we go. So we've got a little bit of mould lines that'll need cleaning up on the wing. Similar situation for the other one. We've got this nice deep grooving for the detailing, for painting. A couple of mould lines to clear up, but on the whole, not too bad. Now let's just see how these fit onto the body of the dragon. The actual shape of the connection on the wing itself to where it connects on the dragon's body, they are individually shaped, so you cannot accidentally put it to the wrong side. So it's quite clear that this one slots in to that side, and it does fit in pretty easily. Now, that feels fairly secure. It is possible to just pull that out, but you could easily glue that in if you wanted to. I might leave it until it's fully painted, just so that if I need to get to a bit of the detailing kind of behind the wing, I could potentially remove it, so I could paint the hard-to-reach areas and then reattach it afterwards. And it's the same with the one on the other side. It's a different shaped kind of hole here, and a different shape on the wing connection for that joint, for it to just kind of plug in when I can get it the right way around. It's this way, I think. Struggling with that one. There we go. Now this one's a bit of a tighter fit, but again, once you kind of find the right orientation, there are those kind of guidelines there to just kind of fit that in. And there we go. So that looks fantastic. Just the way the wings are kind of unfurled outwards like that, it certainly gives it a very kind of dynamic appearance, like almost like it's just ready to leap forth from this rock, take off and fly above the heads of any adventuring party that's been foolish enough to approach its domain. So this might look a little bit on the small side, as I mentioned earlier. Just as a point of comparison, we'll grab that direwolf that we saw earlier. So when you put them kind of side by side, if this one wants to stand up, there we go. So the actual body of the direwolf is almost the same size as the dragon's body itself. I mean, the dragon doesn't look like it'd be able to really eat the direwolf whole, and I imagine most dragons would be large enough to do so. And I will grab a Hero Forge Mini just to compare the size. So this is a Dragonborn Paladin that I designed on Hero Forge. So this is kind of a D&D model, custom model as well. And if you compare the size of them, just put it next to it, like so, you kind of get the feeling that, you know, size-wise, is it big enough to be kind of an ancient dragon? Probably not. But I think just as a physical representation of a dragon, it looks brilliant. It will certainly do the job in a tabletop game, I think. Especially if you're probably portraying it as a young dragon. I think it kind of fits the bill really, really well. So those are the two that I have for you on today's episode of the MiniBox. The Deep Cuts Direwolf and the Deep Cuts Silver Dragon. Both very nice models. A little bit of cleaning up to do on them, as you find on a lot of plastic miniatures. But on the whole, I'm really, really happy with them. I do especially love the Silver Dragon. I just think it looks fantastic. Size-wise, a little bit on the small side. But the design of it, the pose, how dynamic it looks, the level of detail you have on a lot of the scales, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So at £5 per model, I think that's actually quite a reasonable price for each of these. The dragon, absolutely, for £5, that is more than worth it. I think it's a beautiful model. And definitely worth adding to your collection if you're looking to expand your D&D or Pathfinder models, or even if you just have an appreciation for miniatures like this. Definitely, in my opinion, worth grabbing either of them. Hello, there. Okay, I'll try again.
Do Matt Mercer. Good evening.
Yeah.
And welcome to the MiniBox.
I can't raise these arms, damn it. No, I don't know if I can do a Matt Mercer.
I was saying it's a tension breaker, but okay.
Okay, what? Hello, everyone. Like that. Where he's doing this whole, and then he looks surprised that the camera's on.
Yeah, there.
Oh, I didn't see you there. It's a Twitch stream. Welcome to Critical Role.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do a Matt Mercer. He's too good and pure.
Matt Mercer.
He is Matt Mercer.
Only Matt Mercer can
Only Matt Mercer can be Matt Mercer. Give me a few months, I'll try Travis. Be hench.
I'll be Travis.
You'll be I would like to rage.
Stop taking my meds.
I might leave that in.
No, I will not be doing that.
Do you know what I need to buy?
What?
Is one of those teleprompters that you put the camera behind, so I'm looking directly at the lens, but you can see the words on the teleprompter. Amazing.
What?
Amazing.
Just swipe when you make like a blink.
I do a Laura Bailey wink. Sorry, Laura, I love you really. On the assumption I don't edit that out to leave it in. Oh my god, I'm going to get so much hate for all this, aren't I?
Don't leave that part.
No, I won't leave that one in.